Hey, good day, everybody. It's Myers Jackson, and I am sitting on the top of this old red truck I own out here in the middle of the road out here in Texas, where we're going to be selling a piece of land. And I want to take the opportunity to talk with you about terms and conditions when you're buying at the auction. Why is it important that you read the terms and conditions? Because this is the rules of the sale, and we want everybody to understand that you're playing by the same rules across the board. Number one, what property are we selling? How are we selling the property? What is the order of sale? Who do I represent as the auctioneer? Auctioneers represent the sellers. We do not represent buyers. Some other things are, what do I have to pay? You have to be ready to pay for your purchase in cash. If you're going to get any subordinate financing, that has to be approved and ready to be funded in most situations where a seller will accept your offer. Selling subject to confirmation. That means that the seller has the opportunity to review the purchasing power, the qualifications, and the legitimacy of the actual bidder. Are you who you say that you are? If you're bidding online, are you a real person over there? Or are you from Mars? Now, typically we're not going to let any Martians bid at our auctions, but we want to identify the person that is bidding and make sure that they understand that this is a real transaction out here, and we don't want any hiccups whatsoever. Now, we're going to get down to the legal description of the property, what's being offered. If we're offering the property divided, we can offer the property divided, or we can offer it as a whole. We can also sell it in pieces or parts according to what the seller wants to do. Remember, the seller is driving. The seller owns this piece of property. They hire me as their agent to speak with you and to determine what market price is. So subject to language, you need to understand that. We may be selling subject to, and I'm sitting right here looking at a telephone pole. And now, I understand that, some people have never used a landline that connects to the telephone poles or a utility easement. Everybody likes the fact that when you flip that switch on, that you have a light that comes on as well. Man, these bugs getting in my ear and everywhere else out here. We in the country now, you got to remember that. We're selling subject to the bugs being out here in the country. That's what the terms and conditions set. If you're going to move to a country property, expect that you may have some pollen, you may have some bugs, you may have a neighbor's cow that runs loose out here. Well, that's what happens in a lot of situations. If you're buying a house, you're selling to the subject of that construction, selling subject to who built this before. The seller may warrant the property, and I'm not an attorney, so I don't know the legal, and I cannot tell you the legalities of what's going to be in your title or your chain of title, or what that's going to say, but we will have a title company in advance tell you or commit to you this is what you're buying. And I wouldn't suggest that you do any other way. If you go out and you purchase a piece of property and it's a seller and it's a for sale by owner, you need to consult the advice of an attorney or your CPA accordingly. So the terms and conditions will guide what we do when we're selling at auction. So you have a good, comfortable feeling to know that these terms and conditions are fair. Now, I'm going to use the word fair because both sides need to understand what they're doing. And you ask yourself, is that fair? The seller said they're going to sell it like this. I understand. I bought it like that. That's fair. But there are some legal parts to this, and this is where that you need to seek that advice. However, the auctioneer, we're going to put out these terms and conditions. The seller is going to say, okay, we're favorable to those terms and conditions. The buyer, you're going to check the box when you register and say, hey, I'm favorable to these terms and conditions too, and I agree to buy this piece of land as stated. Now what we got to do is determine the price. We're not going to guarantee anything. As the auctioneer, I always say, if you've ever watched that show Texas Flip and Move, I always say if you go in there and you find a buffalo tied to the toilet, he's yours and you got to keep him. You say, why in the world do you say that? Because that's part of the disclosure to say And you know what? It's done in jest. It's done, you know, to be a little bit comical and funny. But really, there's a lot of truth behind it. Because if you buy this piece of property and you come out here and you find, I don't know, you find that same buffalo grazing back there. Well, listen, it may be the neighbors. And you know what? You want to contact the neighbor and say, hey, your buffalo's loose out here. But now, if you come out here and you find some dinosaur bones, now you might want to contact, you know, the Smithsonian or something other. But that may be yours. And you're buying it subject to how the property sits. I'm sitting out here on a gravel road. Now the seller's not going to come out here and pave this road. The gravel road is going to stand as such. If it's county maintained, then the county maintains it according to whatever their rules and regulations are up there at the county. But you're buying it subject to that gravel road. And there may be an easement. This is the important thing. There may be an easement that the county has to maintain this gravel road. So they have the rights to come in and do this. So this is what some of the terms and conditions we'll talk about. Once again, the attorney reviews all of this and they say, okay, we're good to go with that language in that set of terms and conditions. And Myers, you're the auctioneer. Sell this piece of property. My job is to get the highest, best possible price under the best contract terms. I wish you luck. I want you to buy a piece of land at auction. So come on out here. Call me, 833-839-1234. That's 833-TEX-1234. TEX stands for Texas, because that's where we're at. We're going to be selling 100 acres out here really, really soon. Get online at MyersJackson.com. Get all the details there.